The following is a production of the University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Hi, this is David Arundale, your host for the Peer Assisted Learning Groups podcast. Thanks for spending some time with us today. This episode introduces us to Taylor, who's a student study group leader. She's studying family and consumer science with an emphasis on dietetics. Taylor mentioned that the anatomy course she supported was challenging due to the complicated vocabulary. Well, that was the very first class that was ever supported by SI back at the University of Missouri, Kansas City for the first time, and for the exact same reason. In her concluding comments, Taylor talks about how she's a more confident person in so many areas of her life, partially as a result of her involvement with the MavPASS program. This is part 4 of a 6-part series featuring the MavPASS program at Minnesota State University at Mankato. MavPASS is their institutional name for supplemental instruction. Let's listen in on our conversation. Pleasant time again for us to get together, and we are with Taylor. Why don't you just give us just a quick 1-minute profile of who Taylor is?
I am a junior student at Minnesota State University, and I've been at Minnesota State University since I started my college career. And ever since the beginning, I've wanted to become a dietitian. I'm still sticking with that path, and I am actually currently interning with our campus dietitian. And I have a few jobs. MavPASS is one of them, which is a peer facilitated academic support system. So I'm a peer leader as well as a peer mentor. And then I'm also a child care assistant here in Mankato as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, very good. Now, you mentioned the word about being a Mav mentor. Could you just take a minute to explain what that role is?
Peer mentor is kind of a step up from a peer leader. I'm going to step ahead a little bit. I am a human anatomy leader for MavPASS. So that's biology subject. So I hold the biology MavPASS leaders under me. So I kind of help lead them and direct them, especially the new leaders, in kind of growing in becoming a facilitator to other peer students. So what it looks like, I hold different meetings with them. So I do goal setting meetings, and I kind of just answer any of the questions that they have if they're confused or concerned about certain things and they're not sure maybe how to plan a certain lesson or whatever the case may be.
Well, that's an interesting role that you have. And that was one of the questions I asked the supervisor of the program to explain how in the world it could just be one of her, but then again, 50 of you. And she said on how important the role of the mentor was in helping to spread responsibility in order to help the new people and to help with the support for everyone. So that makes total sense then. Why did you decide to become a study group leader?
So I think some of the reason, or part of the reason, is because my twin sister does it. And I don't know, I like to follow in her footsteps. She's a very good role model for me. So she was having a really great experience with it, and I thought I really wanted to try it out too. I've always been one to kind of excel in school. I care about school and I'm very motivated. So I wanted to kind of pass that on to other students and try to help them succeed in their academics as well.
Remind us again about the college course that you are directly involved with as a study group leader. And why do you think that particular course is so challenging for students?
So I am supporting human anatomy this semester, and I think it's kind of difficult for students just because it is one of those prerequisites for a lot of their major courses. So it's important that they not only pass the course, but also kind of get a good grade in it so they can kind of excel in the higher up level courses. And another reason is because, my professor likes to put human anatomy. He says it's a language that they have to learn. And so if they're not kind of continually learning that language, it's hard to succeed in the course because the content builds over time.
Well, that's interesting because the very first class that was ever offered with supplemental instruction was human anatomy. and the issue was about the language. I realize that things are very challenging right now with COVID and all things being online and such. So it maybe has reduced the number of things that you do with students. But what are one or two of your favorite learning activities that you do during your study group sessions?
I actually did English before this. It's been quite a difference doing like English composition to human anatomy. For my study sessions this semester, I've really found that the students like to use graphic organizers. So, kind of looking at the hierarchical nature of, let's just say, a system. So, starting at the way top and kind of going down and zooming in. That kind of helps them connect big picture to little picture. And another thing that I like to use is blank diagrams and just have them kind of identify different pieces or parts.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you. That was just kind of turn our focus to you, and that is based on your experiences as a study group leader, how are you developing personally and professionally?
So I think this kind of wraps into each other, personal and professional together. But personally, I think I'm growing and becoming more confident in my public speaking skills. This helps me professionally as well. So, like in my internship, when I'm doing group events and things, I feel more confident and able to talk with others and communicate and just feel confident in the knowledge that I'm learning in my classes. To kind of connect the real world. I'm also feeling more confident in like my time management skills, problem solving skills, as well as kind of learning to set boundaries with students and just personal things.
Well, thank you. And kind of is our last question here is what's a final comment that you'd like to make for your fellow study group leaders who are listening to this podcast? Is there a final comment that you'd like to share with them?
Being a study group leader really like truly means a lot. You put in so much effort, but those emails and this like little comments that the students come back with just saying how appreciative they are, like I appreciate your work too. We're all in this together. We're a team and it's really appreciated all the work that you put into doing this, to planning and just helping your students succeed.
Well, thank you, Taylor. I appreciate your time. I'm sure everyone who's been listening in on today's episode also appreciates your work. So, best wishes for a wonderful future. Thank you again for being here.
Yes, thank you.